Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I am so excited to jump in today's crafting video because we are doing another Freshie video, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make these adorable beaded car Freshie charms. So if you're ready to see how I made these, then keep watching. So if you've been subscribed to me for a while, then you know that I make a lot of car Freshies and I do a lot of car Freshie tutorials for you guys. But I've been seeing these beaded car Freshies become more and more popular, and I just thought it's time that I do a tutorial for you guys in case you haven't made them already. And honestly, I just really wanted one of these for my car because how adorable is this car Freshie? So first, I'm gonna show you guys everything that you're gonna need for today's craft. And as always, I'll be sure to link all of my supplies down below in the video description. And if you're brand new to making car Freshies, I recommend watching some of my other car Freshie tutorials just so you guys can get a better understanding of it. And because in my previous car Freshie tutorials, I'm a little more descriptive and detailed, I give you guys more tips and tricks, things I've learned along the way, and I also address a lot of like frequently asked questions that I get all the time. So if you're interested in watching that, I'll be sure to link that up above right now for you guys. All right, so let's jump into it. All right guys, so for today's craft, we're gonna be using quite a few supplies. You're obviously going to need all of your basic Freshie supplies that we always use when we're making Freshies, like aroma beads, some mason jars, a tablespoon, a scale if you weigh out your aroma beads through weight instead of volume, but you can do either or, it's just a personal preference. Your fragrance oil, now I got mine from Candle Science, I love this brand, and some mica pigment powders to actually color our Freshies. And then you're obviously going to need some cookie cutters unless you're using some silicone molds that are oven safe, a non-stick baking sheet, some roofing nails to put some holes into your Freshie when you bake them so that you can put elastic or another type of string or ribbon in it later, a spoon to scoop out the aroma beads, and then I obviously use scissors not only to cut the string or cord that we are putting on our Freshies, but I also use scissors to trim down the Freshies, which is optional, you don't have to do. I just think they look better when they are trimmed and a little more cleaner. And then you're gonna need some type of smell-proof bag. And then to do the actual like beaded part or to make our Freshie into more of a car charm, we're gonna be using these wooden beads that I got, along with some cute tassels, a pair of pliers, some eye screws, and then just some regular hoops so that we can attach our tassels to our eye hooks on the bottom of the car Freshie. All right guys, I'm super excited to jump into this, so let's get started. So there are two different ways that you can prepare your beads in order to make car Freshies. You can either do it by weight or you can do it by volume, and I've talked about this before. I think it's just personal preference, whatever you want to do. So I'm just using a regular old mason jar, and it has the measurements on the side of it. So if you're wanting to weigh out your beads, then you will need some type of food scale or shipping scale. So if you're wanting to measure out your aroma beads by weight, then you're going to put your empty mason jar on the scale, zero it out so that it's not going to include the weight of the jar. Then you're just going to scoop out your aroma beads and fill your jar until you get to 4 ounces. And that's just like a basic measurement that I do because for every 4 ounces of aroma beads, I'm going to use 1 tablespoon of fragrance oil. Okay, so there is exactly 4 ounces of beads. So then from here, you would pour 1 tablespoon of fragrance oil in, and then a pinch of mica pigment powder, whatever color of your choosing. And then you're going to put the lid on, shake it really well until your beads are completely pigmented. Then you're gonna leave them setting in that jar with the lid on the entire time, anywhere from 3 days to a week or so. But basically you're just letting them cure into the jars until they no longer stick to the jars. So for example, I have some already cured beads in this jar, and as you can see, the beads do not stick to the sides or the bottom of the jar at all. That means that your beads are completely cured and are ready to bake. I recommend at least once a day until they're completely cured. Anytime you walk by the jar, you just randomly kind of shake the jar up or turn it upside down and leave it setting there. But anyway, so that's how you do it by weight. Now, I personally don't measure out my aroma beads by weight. I personally just scoop aroma beads up in my mason jar and I'll just fill it up to the 4 ounces because it's easier for me to just scoop up some beads, see that they match the line, and then go from there. And also when you do it by volume, there's actually a little bit less beads in there. So with that being said, because there are less beads in the jar than when we go by the weight method, that just leads me to believe that with the volume beads, they're going to be a little bit more stronger. The scent is going to be more potent and maybe last longer because there are less beads than when you do it with weight. You're getting more fragrance oil to bead ratio by doing volume versus weight. But like I said, it's whatever you want to do, whatever your personal preference is. So this is about 4 ounces in volume. So as you can see, it is a little bit less than when we did it with the weight. But like I said, it's whatever your preference is. So now I'm going to pour a tablespoon of our fragrance oil in. Okay, and then we are ready to pour our mica pigment powder in there, which today I'm just going to be using brown because I need brown of this scent. I'm not actually using these specific aroma beads to do this tutorial. I have some that are already scented. I just need this color. So as you can see, that's really not a ton of mica pigment powder, but a little goes a long way. So now that we have our mica pigment powder in there, our aroma beads and our fragrance oil, now we're ready to shake up this jar. So as you can see, now the beads are all sticking to the jar. They are all coated. They're all brown. So now we are ready to set these aside, leave them alone for 3 to 7 days. They should be fully cured by then, and then we can bake these. But like I said, we're not gonna be using those beads today. I already have some fragranced, colored, and ready to go. They are completely cured. They don't stick to the jar at all. So we are ready to bake these. I'm not gonna be using any of my silicone molds today. I'm just gonna be using my regular metal cookie cutters. Now, I definitely recommend just spritzing the inside of your cookie cutter with some nonstick cooking spray, just a tiny bit, just to coat the inside of the cookie cutter so that they are easy to pop out. Okay, so what I like to do is lay my cookie cutters down on my baking sheet, and then I will just put my little nails in where they're gonna go, and this is going to create the hole in the Car Freshie so that we can just string them up and we don't have to drill holes into it later. I just use my little spoon to scoop out the aroma beads, and I just pour them into the cookie cutter. Okay, so there is one, and now we're gonna move on to the second one. And with this one, I'm actually gonna be making it a two-tone freshie. Now, although these are different colors, they are the same scent. I try to always bake the same scents together. Okay, so now I'm ready to put these in my oven, and I set my oven to 300 degrees, and I'm gonna bake them for about 10 minutes. All right guys, so my Freshies have been in the oven for about 10 minutes now, and I'm gonna show you guys how you can tell if your Freshies are done or not. So typically, like, a good indicator is your beads kind of look wet. They look like they've melted down a little bit. On this pink one, the beads look pretty wet. They look like they're done, but the best way to really tell if your Freshies are done is if you put your finger on them. Obviously be careful. Do your beads pull up with your finger? As you can see, these beads are pulling up with my finger, which means the centers of these are not completely done. They are not melted all the way. So these Freshies are not done. I'm gonna put them back in the oven for about 2 more minutes. And we're just going to continuously check them every 2 minutes until they don't stick to my finger anymore. So I just wanted to show you guys that because a lot of people have problems telling when their Freshies are done or not. So that's my best tip that I have for you guys to be able to tell if your Freshies are done. All right guys, so it's been another 2 minutes. So we're gonna check on our Freshies. And I can already tell these look a lot better, but as you can see, they are not sticking to my finger or my nail at all. So now I just like to leave mine setting on the cookie sheet on my oven, and I leave mine setting for about 30 minutes, if not more. I'm just gonna let them set here until they are completely cool to the touch, because that's when we can demold them out of our cookie cutters. All right guys, so it's been about 30 minutes and our Freshies are completely cool to the touch. So we are ready to take them off of the pan and out of our cookie cutter mold. So I just like to kind of push mine in the center, and they pretty much always slide out super easily because we sprayed that nonstick cooking spray on the cookie cutters beforehand. So now we are ready to take out our little roofing nail here. So I just like to put pressure in every direction just to kind of loosen it. And then I will just press down and voila, now it's out. Now you don't have to do this part. I just like to because I feel like the Freshies just look a little bit better, cleaner. So I trim the edges of mine because you see how they have like these super jaggedy edges. But like I said, you obviously don't have to do that. That's just my personal preference. So I just go around and just cut all the jagged edges down so that it's kind of like the same all the way around. It just makes it look more uniform, I think. Okay, so there we are. This one is completely trimmed, as you guys can see. So now we are ready to add our string on. Okay, so I like to cut about 10 to 12 inches of string per Freshie. Okay, so first I like to put the ends together. So I just create a loop here like so. I'm not doing anything with it yet. Typically I would tie a knot first and then put it through my Freshie, but because we're putting beads on this, we are not going to be tying this yet. So first I'm just going to put one end in through the Freshie, and then I'm gonna put the other end in. Okay, and then I just kind of pull them so that they are even. And then as you can see here, we have a loop on one side and then we have the two ends on the other side. So I just like to pull it until there's just a small loop on one side. And then I'm just going to loop these two ends through like so. And then as you can see, we've created a nice little loop that's going to hold our Freshie. So now we're not going to tie a knot in this or anything yet. We're going to go ahead and put on our beads. So for this pink one, I'm going to do these natural wooden beads here. And I like to put about 3 on them. And then from here, you're just going to tie a knot towards the ends of the string. And then I just kind of like to trim the ends of the string because like once you've put them through the beads and you pulled at them and tied them up, then they get kind of frayed. So now this is ready to go over my rearview mirror, as you can see. So it can still stretch over and go on the rearview mirror. But now we have an adorable car Freshie with cute little wooden beads. Now we could be done here, but we're gonna go a little bit further because I've seen some people put tassels in the bottom of theirs and I thought it was to die for. So of course we're gonna be doing that. Okay, so for this part, you can use a torch or you can use just a regular lighter. I'm using my little candle lighter here. So I'm gonna take my little pliers here and then I have my little eye hook and I just hold the eye end with my pliers so that the screw is facing up. So I'm just gonna hold it like this. And then I'm just going to put the whole end of my eye screw in the flame to heat it up so that we can put it into our Freshie. And I learned this little trick from Jessica Flynn when she posted her Freshie charm video. So I definitely gotta give her a shout out and I will link her video down below if you wanna check that out. Hers came out amazing. Now, because it is so hot, you should be able to just put it in your Freshie and just kind of twist it in there, just like a normal screw. But you kind of got to do it fast while the eye screw is hot. Okay, so now our eye screw is in the Freshie, as you guys can see. So now we are ready to add our little fringe tassels. So for this part, I just grab one of my little hoops here and I have them with my pliers in one hand and then I have my little tassel on the other. So I like to kind of hold it wherever the little jump ring meets and you can see where it separates. I kind of hold it on one side close to that little edge there and then I'm just going to push my tassel in there and then we're going to close it back up with the pliers. Okay, so now I have my little tassel in the loop. So then you just kind of have to like be careful to not push it off. Okay, so now I have it partially closed, but not closed all the way so that I can still put it on our little eye screw here. All right, guys, and there's our little tassel on the first one. So cute. Okay, so moving right along, let's do the next one. Okay, and there we are. There's the second one with the tassel and our beads. So from here, you're ready to put your Freshie in your smell-proof bag, and then it's good to go. All right, guys, as always, I hope you enjoyed this Freshie tutorial. If you have any other questions or comments, feel free to drop a comment down below. If you did like this video, please let me know that you liked it by giving me a big thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, I recommend clicking that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any other crafting tutorials. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one.